Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Disco Elysium. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today. Our character, Harry, he's not very happy.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's barely covered in steam anymore. You see your face, such as it is without the expression. It's just hairy.
And also it's Harry. Slightly different pronunciation. Let the mirror be for now. Wow. Wow. Well, that was a good investment. Our first point into electrochemistry. That was a good investment. And before we go to bed, we have a lot of things to do. We have a book that we need to read, and I forget which book it is. It's this one. La Fumée. Absolutely. The dried May bells, we did it already. The evidence. The map of Martinez, we did that as well. Handwritten note from the fridge. Yeah, so we're missing the damaged ledger and this.
The face of King Freecell smiles at you. For some reason, the smile now strikes you as more forced than it did before.
I'm gonna read the editor's note.
Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, Du cristal à la fumée. This was his way of describing the way the rigid, crystalline structures of capitalist ideology turn to smoke under communism. But, like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée, unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel. La Fumée is committed to telling the radical truth, even when that truth may drive away potential subscribers.
Only 4 issues in, and it sounds like they have already alienated their readership, says our logic.
Perhaps they've overestimated the market demand for this kind of commentary.
Says our savoir-faire, sort of putting a focus on precisely something that we mentioned before. I mean, the game mentioned, I sort of just reinforced a little bit, which is that if you operate within the constraints of the market, you're always going to be reinforcing market rules. And so if you're basing your magazine off of market demand, then yeah, you're going to be playing by the rules of the market. And so if your commentary is being anti-market, then, well, it's not actually quite like that. But if you're, because you can pretend that your commentary is anti-market while at the same time playing by the rules of the market. I'm not sure the game is going to go in that direction, because I think this might be not a very popular magazine.
So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs, please consider subscribing today. Yours in struggle, the editors. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you.
I want to catch up on the international developments.
This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of free trade negotiations between the EPIS nations and the Free State of Semenine. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border, something about bear wrestling in Samara, book riots in Yugograd. Whoa. Bear wrestling. Flip back to that.
All right, let's see what this bear wrestling is all about.
It seems to be part of a new public fitness initiative in the People's Republic of Samara, SRV, devised and promoted by none other than President Kanajinsky himself. According to this extremely credulous account, Uncle Sport, as he's affectionately known to his people, has recently decreed bear wrestling the national sport of the SRV.
When it's a... Hang on. Tell me more about this Uncle Sport.
Based on the description in this article, he appears to be an extremely competent and democratically elected president.
Extremely credible source. Great, now let's get to the bear wrestling.
It's quite straightforward. A standard match features one man, or in some cases woman, against one bear. 2 competitors, 1 ring, 5 rounds, or until incapacitation. According to the SRV's Ministry of Information, the program has been a tremendous success. Public support stands at 87%, and youth obesity and alcoholism rates are down 12% and 7% respectively.
This is the SRV we're talking about, says our logic. If you think those are the real numbers, there's probably a guy who wants to sell you a bridge in La Charte. What? That's not, the numbers are not the incredulous. I mean, I suppose public support of 87% might be, but the 12 and 7% are not particularly incredulous. You don't have a whole lot of room to it not being down, because then once they start being up, it isn't the numbers that matter, it's the down. Either way, I guess it's hard to fight a bear if you're drunk.
Precisely. For too long, drink has been a scourge to the working class, and President Kaczynski is deeply committed to supplying the people with more wholesome entertainments.
I wish I were informed enough to actually talk about the relationship between alcoholism and the working class struggle, specifically in Eastern Europe, but I'm not smart enough about that. There's definitely a relationship. There's definitely a story behind that, and I'm not sure what it is. But I probably should look it up. I'm not gonna in the middle of an episode, but maybe in a future episode we'll be able to talk about similar subjects. Always good to catch up on foreign affairs, and I'm gonna return to the table of contents.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you.
What is Kunst und... Und? It is und. Kunst und Kultur.
It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture.
Why they decided to title this one section in Walder is beyond you. Probably Walder. It looks very German to me.
Obviously, because it's cool to drop random phrases in foreign languages. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective.
Just a moment, what is this Tip Top Tournée?
The actual article is surprisingly light on details, but after skimming a page or two, you gather that it has something to do with motor carriage racing. If you don't follow it, you only ever hear about the ludicrous sponsorships and obscene death toll.
Oh, it's like Formula One, then. Tip Top Tournée. Yeah. Alright, let's see what these communists have to say about Tip Top.
You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice anecdotes about a few of the more colourful drivers. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the politically problematic aspects of Tip Top Tournée.
Wait, what's wrong with Tip Top?
Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships. And then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor crashes.
Oh. It might be just a commentary on other things. Or it's not a commentary at all. It's just a made-up sport. It isn't Formula One necessarily. Because if it has an emphasis on deadly motor crashes, then it sounds a little bit more like NASCAR. Not that NASCAR doesn't try to be safe, but in the sense that, people go to watch NASCAR for the crashes a lot of the time. Well, at least historically they did. These days it's a little bit different. They still do that, but it's part of the sport. It's very much a contact sport, whereas Formula One is not really, and never was, because the cars just break. They break if you crash them against each other. Also, they don't have bumpers. Hang on, who wrote this stuff?
Oddly enough, this article has 2 bylines. Nasteb Encolada Bernal and Exilus Buka.
What's so bad about sponsorships?
Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Every pleasure, even one as elemental as the joy of racing others around a track, is reduced to an advertising opportunity. Thus, the so-called tournée becomes a competition between increasingly meaningless brand signifiers. Your discount laundry detergent racing against a pack of Astra cigarettes, or even a frita.
Right. But then you get to see them crash.
And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, spectacular violence, audiences would quickly lose interest. At the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real races that you're really watching for.
Whoa, you're right. I really am just in it for the violence.
You see, one cannot avoid the conclusion that Tip Top Tourney is simply the apotheosis of spectacular entertainment under capitalism. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you.
I thought we were going to actually have a discussion about, the nature of marketing and, well, specifically advertising. Marketing is more than just advertising, but the nature of advertising in capitalism. But no, the book is not talking about that. Let's see what they mean by local concerns.
Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support for the dock workers' strike. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbour red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. A city in revolt. First we take Martinez, then we take La Delta. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Capeside Apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. Ah, this must be Gaston's handiwork.
G. Martin. Gaston. He's the old fella down that's playing ball. We haven't been able to give him a ball back. But he's not the other one. René is the other one, the ex-military. Huh. Well, I'm going to take a moralist approach here, and I'm going to... Well, it's also free market sort of thing. But the two go hand in hand so much. Oh, wait. No, this is the moralist one. Let's read them. Them communists should have killed a lot of them when they had the chance. Or the lot of them. And that's probably... any non-communist one. Not really. I suppose moralist it isn't. Anyway, if it weren't for the wild pines, all those moochers would be out of a job. That is the free market, I think. Charging well, it's liberal, that's the term. Is it liberal? No, libertarian, that's the one. Liberal is moralist. Charging rent just to live somewhere is pretty outrageous, that's the communist. Wouldn't it be better for everyone if labor and capital could reach some reasonable accommodation? And obviously that is the moralist one. Let's go with that.
According to these editorials, there can be no accommodation with the forces of international capital or their mucilaginous allies in the coalition. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you.
Gaston has an article. My dude. Now, it is pretty late. So I'm going to quick save, and I'm going to see what happens when I do this.
It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permeables drawer inside. It takes about half an hour to piece one together, using the system you've devised. Which one do you want?
One case file. It takes half an hour to piece one case file together. Let's hope that I don't fall over and die. So, actually, wait a minute. The breakthrough imminent is because it has already happened. I can revisit this.
Not much has changed in the meanwhile.
There it is.
Anti-Object Task Force. Behold, the Anti-Object Task Force has assembled. God's avenging angel, arrayed against the lower emanations of the darkened one. Shoe racks, tape recorders, motor carriages, and doors. So many doors. You're not just pounding it all to pieces. You're reforging the universe, from the anvil of the heavens to the worms below. Indulge in it. Be bold. Have an impact on the shape of creation. Out of the furnace of your rage, a new reality. Also, you should trash your room again.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. What? I should trash my room again. Attacking physical objects heals damage. +1 pain threshold because of thick skin. And all physic learning caps increased by 1, which is pretty sweet. Oh my god. Oh my god. How can I even trash my room? Can I do it with a window?
The window stands broken in its frame.
I don't... Maybe. Can I attack the bathtub? What is the bathtub even?
This is not the cleanest bathtub in the world, but it's cleaner than you are right now.
Oh, right, for me to wash myself.
Ah, that soap scum smell. It smells like life, at least compared to you.
Yeah, let's run myself a bath.
The bathtub slowly fills with water. The water beckons.
I'm gonna undress, close my eyes, and submerge.
The water is only lukewarm, but still comforting, like amniotic fluid. A few beer cans are bobbing up and down along your flanks, like sad duckies.
I'm gonna take the beer cans out.
Now you are alone with your thoughts in the tub. But it's easier than being alone with your thoughts outside the tub.
Fair point.
They're not even really thoughts, just assorted sensations. None of them acute enough to focus on.
Let's imagine something.
You see the corpse. You can still smell the cadaver on you. It's going to take more than one bath to get rid of that stench. Then, houses along a narrow street. A video rental. Darkness on the planet's curvature.
I'm gonna linger in the tub a little.
Your fingers grow pale and are covered with tiny whirls as the water cools. What are you doing? You're not some fat fish in a fucking aquarium. Time to get moving.
Let's get out. Conclude.
The waterline recedes as you stand. You are cold now. Your clothes stick to your still moist skin.
I hate it when you dress up after a bath and you didn't clean yourself up properly. It does depend on how hot it is. If it's like really hot, it doesn't matter because it just evaporates very fast. But if it's cold, it's the worst thing. And we have succeeded. Oh, hidden quests don't show up over there. I don't know what we succeeded at. Or maybe... I don't know. But we did it. We couldn't punch... We couldn't punch the bathtub, unfortunately.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall.
Can't punch the mirror either. I want to punch things. I still have 20 minutes. Oh, wait a minute. I think there might have been something over there. Banging on walls might be a good thing. Yeah, was there something here? I heard the boom sound. That was just... I think it's normal. Well, I don't know if I can trash my room or thrash my room. Either way. Let's do as I was gonna do, which is read the ledger. Let's start with the top one. The Next World mural.
This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The building is a sparsely inhabited ghost tower, part of a failed real estate development called Grand Couronne. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes, a man and a woman, are kissing. The text cut into their form reads, "True love is possible, only in the next world. For new people, it is too late for us. Wreak havoc on the middle class. People call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for miles. In 2 days, the station's complaints desk gets clogged with requests to remove the bummer. You and your partner are assigned to the case. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the bell lettrers have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. One of the graffito artists is rumored to be rich. They take responsibility for the execution, but not the design. The ideologue of the Next World mural, as the crew calls it, remains an unknown.
Wait, do I ever find out who came up with it?
The case files do not show you finding the author of the design.
Let's read on.
The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. This leads to a debate in Precinct 41, which then spreads to the streets of Jamrock, ending in a rare plebiscite organized by you and the rest of Row 3.
A plebiscite. That's a referendum. That's what that means. It's a term that English speakers use for referendum a lot of the time. Although referendum is also used a lot. Also, JV, my partner, we have heard the name, and I can tell you, it is Jean-Vic Mer. And we have heard that we have enough information to, if we're very smart, piece it together. Or if we have played the game before, we also can piece it together. So I'm telling you right now that it is.
The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villalobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a lot of rambling on the streets as to how juvenile and stupid the mural is, given a choice between two options.
A. Remove the mural, it is wrong. Or B. Keep the mural, it is right. And I choose one of them here in the dialogue.
A staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Turns out the opposition were a loud minority. And that love truly is possible in the next world for new people. And it is too late for us.
The middle class are not to be blamed. It is human nature. Now that is libertarian. Let's see if there's a more moralist one. This is the moralist one. I like it, but can't we wreak havoc on other nations? It's a big... I'm gonna go with the human nature thing, because for those of you who may not be, well, just to explain why it is libertarian or why it is moralist, converging characteristics of capitalism with characteristics of human nature is something that is often done to justify capitalism. And that's done on purpose, and it's also done just because people are taught that, and that's what people believe. So, for example, greed, saying, humans are greedy by nature, we need to do a system that accounts for people being greedy, is a thing that people say to justify the way capitalism works. However, you can also look at it from the other perspective, which is capitalism is a system that rewards greediness, and it is important then to acknowledge that at least part of the greed that exists in human society can be accounted for because of the system that we live in. So it's not to say that humans can't be greedy outside of capitalism, but it is to say that in capitalism, humans are rewarded for being greedy. And so maybe we shouldn't make a system that rewards the greediest among us the most. But that's beside the point. That is the reason why it's human nature is a libertarian or a moralist attitude. But it's probably libertarian. I'm going to go with it. Let's see what happens.
Did anyone ask you what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger? What do you want to tackle next? Or are we done?
If people don't want to watch the video, they can go watch something else. I play a lot of games. It's fine. Did anyone ask? Shut up. I can revisit this, and I will.
Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard.
That said, do you see how it's 13 past 2 in the morning? I knew it went past 2. I think at 3 a.m. we pass out. There's something that I haven't done, and I will do it tomorrow, early morning, because it's totally fine to do it, which is we're going to smell the... I don't know what I have. It's the what is it called? This. Chewing gum. I couldn't come up with a freaking name for the chewing gum. Yeah, we're going to need to interact with this. This is something that we haven't done yet. And mostly because it told us... The chewing gum told us not to do it right now. But we're going to do it tomorrow. It's a pretty awesome interaction. Let's do another case. The unsolvable case.
A.K.A. Leslie and Burke. A.K.A. The public indecency drunk and the property damage drunk is a cursed case. It has been passed from unsuspecting officer to unsuspecting officer for 10 years. On January 29, the unsolvable case made its way to you. Why you accepted it, it is unclear. Every officer, and indeed most civilians in Jamrock, know it's unsolvable. You were so drunk you didn't remember what it was when you signed on. That, or you were high. Leslie will always take his pants off when he's drunk. Burke will always trash everything. It's just what they do. It is their nature. You cannot change the nature of a man, and you can't lock them away because public indecency and small-scale property damage are not punishable by incarceration. The only way for Leslie to stop displaying his genitals and for Burke to stop attacking things would be for them to stop drinking alcohol, which in their 40s or 50s, it's hard to tell because of their distorted features, is a medical improbability.
Couldn't we just keep them off the streets?
You would think that, but you're wrong. Where's the fun in exposing your genitals or breaking stuff in your own home? No, Leslie and Burke are on the corner of Main Street and Perdition because that's where the action is. Can you keep yourself off the streets?
Shut up, Logic. Proceed.
Threatening, fines, dragging them to the station, locking them up in the hellholes they live in, locking them up in the station, hypnotherapy, even trying to get the local gang of Zemyaki to take them out. The Zemyaki gave them ethanol, so Burke and Leslie would expose and rampage even harder. You tried it all, and still the complaints wouldn't stop, as they hadn't stopped for 10 years.
Expose and rampage even harder.
It's plain to see from the files that you, Satellite Officer JV, and Special Consultant TH had more important cases to attend to. You uncover cross-reference to several ongoing investigations, each brought to a standstill every time you drive down Main Street. Because there they are, on the corner of Perdition. And what is Leslie doing?
Public indecency.
Good, you're learning. If the files are to be trusted, that's all there is to it. That and Burke breaking things, and the fact that they're both drunk. But then again, so are you. The case becomes considerably less comic one day when Burke takes a swing at your ledger. He must have it confused with the property he likes to damage. But the joke's on him. The officer is also drunk. Way more drunk than Burke there. And let's be fair, you also have party eyes. You slam the hardened plastic board in his face, then proceed to beat him unconscious with it.
This is a very funny case.
In the process, the ledger sustains damage. The compartment within, reserved for permeable documents, is jammed shut. You stop your assault on the now unconscious Burke to open it, but are unable to do so. The officer began to cry, reports Leslie, who, at this point, is tending to Burke. Kill them. They broke it.
Is it actually the ledger that we need to deal with, and not the chewing gum wrapper? I think it is the ledger. It's that compartment. It doesn't show up as unvisited because we need to do it again. We've done it once. It is.
He came at us, and at us. I think he was trying to kill Burko. While trying to kill Burko, you slowly come around. The permeables compartment is open. You've smashed it open on poor Burko's kneecaps. The good news is, Burke can't walk anymore. Can't get out of his apartment, an invalid. With Burke to tend to, Leslie cuts back on the indecent exposure. Maybe he flashes his genitals to Burke. Who knows? But both drunks are off the street. The complaints stop. The unsolvable case is solved. Which is also why the officer responsible narrowly escapes a disciplinary hearing. The end. Do you want to read another one?
No, I think I'm good for right now. I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Disco Elysium. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video, but above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.